Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of BRA Banter. My name is Jahan Corbin, and this is my friend and fellow survivor, Lynn Haddad. And we are so excited to be with you today and really excited about our topic and our guest. We work with an organization called Breast Cancer Recovery in Action. So if you're new to us, welcome to BRA. You can insert all your supportive puns here. We take all those funny jokes. BRA is a comprehensive community, first and foremost, of breast cancer survivors and to serve other breast cancer survivors. And we do that through four primary components of programming: exercise, nutrition, education, and emotional wellness. And so, if you're not familiar with our organization and want to learn more, I encourage you to go to our website, bragroups.org. We would love to learn more about you and figure out ways that we could connect with you and provide resources if that's something that you're looking for. Because as breast cancer survivors, we both know the value of community and not doing that alone. So we're so glad you're here. And I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime, Lynn, to kick us off.
Yes. So thank you, Jahan. Today is a particularly special broad banter to me. We are in celebration or in honor, I guess is the better way to say it, of March being Triple Negative Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are going to be chatting with a broad groups member from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Sharon Butler, who is a fellow triple negative breast cancer survivor who was diagnosed in 2021. Sharon, we are so happy to have you coming here to share your story with us. And when we were getting ready to have this call or this conversation, we were thrilled to learn that Sharon is a fellow dog lover because if anybody has seen prior broad banters, Jahan and I love our doggies. So I now understand that you're on the lookout for your next dog, Sharon.
I am, but don't share that because my husband doesn't know yet.
Keep that on the
Okay.
down low.
Right,
Now,
right.
Jahan
We say on the Ogden. Yeah.
big dogs. I have a couple of yellow labs, so 76 pounds and 54 pounds. And Jahan has teeny
I
tiny
have a
little dog.
little, yeah, I have a little medium-sized mutt that's probably 18 pounds, and then I have a 12-pound West Highland Terrier who thinks that she is ferocious
Yeah.
and is in charge of the neighborhood until she gets up next to some of those bigger dogs. We actually, for a funny thing, we have a farm down the street from us, and every now and then they will walk their horses out on the street in our subdivision, and she will bark, 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 bark. And then if I let her out and she gets right up next to him and sort of sees the perspective, then she's all of a sudden like, oh, I'm 12 pounds. I'll get back in my little fenced in yard. You know? So we love our dogs.
Yeah, we do. Anyhow, so once again, thank you for sharing your time with us, and thank you for being willing to share your story with us. I think it really matters to those of us who are in the 10 to 15% of people who in the breast cancer world who are diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. So I thought maybe we would just get started today by sharing a little bit about how you were diagnosed with triple negative.
Well, it was a routine mammogram that I went to in, I think it was October of 21. And I had recently, within a week, been to my gynecologist. She'd given me a breast exam. She didn't feel anything. So I don't feel so bad that I didn't feel anything either. But it was found, and they did an ultrasound, of course. And they decided to do the biopsy. And right away it came back, and it was they told me it was very rare, it was very aggressive, it was very unique, just like me. So they sent me to the surgeon right away. And I was, I knew nothing about breast cancer at all, much less triple negative. So it was all news to me, and I was absolutely terrified. I was prepared. Okay, I'm going to have a double mastectomy, but my surgeon, she said, it's very small, it's very early, and we can get it. We can do a lumpectomy. So I said, are you sure? And she said, yes, so, okay, put my trust. And sure enough, she did, as far as we know. But you know how you have to do the preventative thing. So I did 12 rounds of chemo every week. I did one round every Thursday. And then I did 4 double rounds of what we call the Red Devil. I prefer the blood of Jesus.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
And then I did, I think, 20 rounds of radiation.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I have a clean bill of health. I am at my fourth year. I'm 4 years now.
Hmm.
And the kind I had was only 0.1% of all breast cancers are that. It's called metaplastic, and it's a triple negative. I really didn't know how bad it was. I
Uh-huh.
didn't read. I was too scared to read. And once I did read, and when it was all over, I was glad that I didn't look up on the internet because it would have scared me.
I was going to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
you how you were like a researcher because people have different personalities,
Hmm.
handle stressful news in different ways, but I wondered how much you had delved into that sort of rare aggressive piece of it. So what does the metaplastic part mean? That's just a specific type of triple
It's
negative?
just a specific type, and it's very aggressive. So
Okay.
Hmm.
the fact that they caught it so early was a huge blessing
Absolutely.
because things could have turned out much, much worse. So,
Yeah.
and I didn't know anything about triple negative, about that being bad, that being good. What was, So you have to learn all this stuff. They bombard you with all of this information,
Right.
and you've got to decipher it somehow. I let a little bit in at a time, and that's how I dealt with it. Because it was just hard to process.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But I had a great support system. I
Mhm.
had wonderful doctors, surgeons, and by the grace of God, here I am.
Yeah,
Well, that's wonderful.
that is.
So, at what point, like, did you learn that you were triple negative? Like, when you were talking with the doctors, did they share you were triple negative, or
It
like
was
with
the breast
explain?
navigator that really explained to me
Uh-huh.
what I had. She brought out this book and she's pointing, and I had no idea what it was all over my head at that point. I was just in
Right.
shock. But yeah, the breast navigator is the one who explained what that meant, that I didn't have the receptors that
Right.
other people have. So I would have to have a different kind of treatment
Yeah.
than
Mm-hmm.
people who are not triple negative.
It's interesting because I was so blissfully ignorant. I didn't have any kind of breast cancer, in my family or really even know anybody really
Hmm.
closely that had had breast cancer at that time. And I just was very ignorant. And I would have thought that breast cancer is breast cancer. It's common enough, right? You hear about enough people, friends of friends, even if they're not closely in your circle. I would have said I thought I knew about it, but truly I didn't know. So I was not triple negative. I'm ER positive, which is the more common type, but I didn't know that. And so you when they're telling you all these things, I'm thinking now what I know now after being in this world for a few years and working with breast cancer survivors, I know that you can talk to 10 different women and you can get to 10 completely different stories
Hmm.
in terms of diagnosis and treatment protocol and all that they went through and the options and those kinds of things. But I just was very blissfully ignorant. So it really, at the beginning, I always say it felt like drinking from a fire hose. You just were like,
Yes.
this information overload is coming upon you. And I was just trying to process the main thing, which was, okay, there's cancer in my body. That's all I could really hear.
Hmm.
Yes, it is overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming and terrifying at the same time. And I'm so thankful for all of my bra buddies because, like you say, we all had something different, but
Hmm.
we still have that commonality of
Right.
breast cancer and chemo and radiation and lumpectomies and this medicine and that medicine, and just to just have a group that you can talk to and they
Hmm.
understand
Hmm.
what you're going through, what you have gone through, what you've been through.
Hmm.
It means the world.
The trauma of the diagnosis itself and being the common experience, it trumps all of the, even if our treatments were different, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Underlying experience is the most common.
Well, and even, I mean, in having met so many people through the breast cancer journey, you can come from different walks of life, different education, different phases of life, and we still have this one huge thing in common.
Hmm.
And I can bond with people. I've bonded with so many people. And I would have, I think, under other circumstances, if we didn't have this one thing in common, I don't think we would have connected.
Hmm.
But we were able to just connect so quickly
Hmm.
because we could share these feelings, share these experiences.
Hmm.
It's really amazing to me.
Hmm.
Um, so did you feel supported going through this whole process? I know you had family and friends, but I mean, my personal experience was, it's scary, right? Having this diagnosis. the treatments can be very challenging. And ultimately, you're there kind of on your own, right? I mean, you're the one who has to show up for the infusions. And we talked about the Red Devil. It's hard. I mean, I found it very
Yes.
challenging. And so at times it felt very isolating, even though I had a lot of people who loved me, and I would forever grateful for that. How was your experience in that way?
Well, you got to remember too with me, it was 2021. This is coming right off of COVID.
Oh, goodness.
So we were still on COVID protocol.
Uh-huh.
Even when I went to my chemo and my rate, no one could go with me.
Mm.
Right.
You had to be, on your own. So just being dropped off was pretty much all my friends and family could do. It just dropped me off. And it is very isolating because even though they're here and they're supporting you, they don't really know what you're going through. And it is you. You're the one that has to do it. You're the one that feels the way you feel.
Mhm.
And, I found myself uh, trying to make other people feel better
Right.
about my diagnosis.
Yeah.
You're trying to hold them up because it's hard for them too.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it can be isolating. But I fortunately I had such wonderful friends and family. They were
Mhm.
they were they were there every step of the way, and that was such a big help to me.
Yeah, I that piece that I think is common for a lot of women, that we sort of carry the emotional burden. We wear a lot of hats and we carry a lot of emotional burdens for other people, even when we are the patient. Was there a point, I know from my experience, I got to a place where and I was also very fortunate to have great support, but it got to a point where I thought, I can't work through this for you. I've got to just be able to focus on my health and um, I don't know, I just could only take on so much. So I wondered if there was a place for you where you just were like, I can't manage your feelings about my treatment right now. I've got to sort of look out for my own health and protect myself here.
I had some friends that almost became maybe a little standoffish during the time. And
Mhm.
that surprised me. But people deal with grief and bad news and things differently. And that doesn't mean that they're not as good a friend or anything like that. People just deal with things differently. So, you just have to realize that people aren't going to always react the way you want them to react in any
Yeah.
situation
And
for that
it's
matter.
not personal. It sounds like you're saying it's not
Right.
personal necessarily. It's sometimes just people don't know what to
It's
say.
really not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's if you're scared, think how scared they are, and they are too. And but after I got better and kind of came back to myself, they came back around. That and that's okay. That's how they had to deal with it, and that's okay.
Yeah, that can be very painful. I've definitely heard that from other broad group members and cancer survivors I've talked to,
Mhm.
that sometimes unexpected people show up in ways they didn't expect.
Yes.
I had people that I didn't feel really that close to, but had probably had a loved one in their family who suddenly were there and like did so much. And then people who I would have expected to step up for me maybe didn't.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
I had some new friends as well
yeah,
that I hadn't known very long, and they
mhm,
became very, very strong friends for me
yeah,
during this whole journey. And I mean, I like me okay, but I didn't expect it to be contagious.
Right.
So, it weighs out. It weighs out. God gives you what you need and who
That's
you need.
right. That's right. And I wonder how, what does it look like, or do you feel like it's changed the way that you show up for friends
that
now
was
when
going to
they
be my
have
next
other,
question.
whether
Yeah.
it's breast cancer or something else, just any kind of grief or loss or scary time? Like I just feel like my own experience taught me a lot about not feeling like I have to know what to say, but just showing up in a specific way. And I know I learned generally not to just say, let me know what you need. Like I've learned to specifically offer something. So I just wonder, has that changed the way you show up in your relationships now?
Oh, absolutely. It's no longer let me know if you need anything.
Hmm.
It's, let me bring you this. I'm coming over and I'm bringing you this, and I'm going to take you
Mhm.
on your next appointment.
Yes.
Right,
That sort of thing. Or let's meet for lunch on this day,
right.
Yes.
and just
Yes.
be more aggressive with it and more intentional.
Intentional. That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What other lessons do you feel like you've learned? Is there anything else that you like? Trying to think. I We were having a conversation with a group of our members yesterday, and we were talking about really learning maybe not to sweat the small stuff as much.
Mhm.
Having a different perspective, I think. Well, actually, my comment in this conversation was that I had learned two things, which is with my children specifically, I learned not to try to be as perfectionistic, and
Mhm.
just, I'm not going to sweat every little thing, but also much less, I'm less willing to put up with BS from other people. So those are my two takeaways, I think, and high level, from having gone through really a life-threatening,
Mhm.
situation. So, do you feel like either of those applies to you?
One of the things too that's kind of hard, and I hear this from other survivors, is when your treatment is over,
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, it's all over. It's done. She's back to normal. It's just a bump in the road." And, they don't understand that you have this PTSD. If you get a headache, it's, oh gosh, what is it? Or if your bones hurt, oh dear, do I need to have that checked out? And then you still have your side effects of all your treatment, and
Mhm.
your brain doesn't work as well as it used to, and it's not
Right.
going to, and that's okay. And
Mhm.
that doesn't bother me anymore. I'm okay with that. I'm just fine with it. But just like you, I don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. It really is. And sometimes when I see what people are worried about, or people on TV or something, I'm thinking, you need something to really worry about. Okay.
Yeah, right. Perspective,
Mhm.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never have wished for this to come into my life, but I think there have been certain things on the flip side of the coin that have benefited me from the experience.
Absolutely. There it is possible to have joy in the
Mhm.
middle of your
Mm.
treatment, in the middle of your circumstance. The way these new friends and
Mhm.
people stepped up for me, and our relationships, how they got stronger. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's really a lot of good things that have come out. And also, I think that I was in some ways too complacent before I had cancer.
Mhm.
Like, I just took a lot of things for granted, and now, I've got more get up and go, and say, if I want to do something, let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
don't think about it. Let's do it.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
there's some good things that have
There
come out,
are.
I
and
think so.
certainly the friendships that I have from my bra buddies. They're wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's like I wouldn't trade the friendships that I have for anything, even though I
Mm-mm.
never have asked for this to
I
be the path that I met them.
I think, yeah, if anything I've learned, it's that both things can exist at
That's right.
once, right?
Yes.
Like earlier we talked about you can be loved and you can feel lonely and you can,
Yes.
feel sadness this happened, but still understand that you've, had good things come out of it.
Mm.
It's both sides
Yeah.
of the coin.
Yeah.
Jahan
Yeah.
is my original bra buddy.
That's right. She is. Yeah,
We
we've been
actually
friends a
met
long
through
time.
breast cancer
Yeah, and we're friends in
years
real
and
life.
years ago. Um,
And now that I'm 4 years out, I'm finally, I will say, I'm just kind of finally now starting to not worry all the time. Is it coming back? Is it coming back? Is
well,
it
that
coming
was
back?
actually a
Because there
question.
is a period of that.
Right.
And I'm actually starting to feel like that go away. The burden of that kind of go away a little bit. So, and that's another thing about Bra. When you see people that are 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and on, that
Right.
are out, then it gives you hope.
Very
It's a
encouraging.
great
Yeah.
You
thing.
want to
What do
hear that. You want to hear everything's going to be okay.
That's right. What do you attribute that to primarily, Sharon? Is it just time away from the diagnosis, or what do you think it is that's allowed you to finally start kind of letting go of some of that
I
fear?
think it is. I think it's time. I had somebody ask me the other day who's going through treatment currently, am I ever going to feel normal again?
Hmm.
And I said, yeah, you will. And I
Hmm.
remember asking that question, am I ever going to feel right? Am I ever going to feel normal? And you will. You
Mhm.
will. You're different, but you're new and improved because you've been shown a lot of things.
Hmm.
But yeah, just, uh, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, just
Well, no,
time
it's
away from
okay.
the diagnosis, like
Yes.
distance from the
I think
diagnosis.
it's time away. I think it just takes time. You just have to work through it, and you just keep living day by day, and then as you get farther away, you just start. Well, your everything is cancer, 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 cancer. especially the first year or so. And that's it. That's all that's on your mind. That's all you talk about. That's you're doing doctor's appointments. As you start to get away from those and you're not constantly going to the doctor and you're not constantly having symptoms and you're out of treatment, I think time really does heal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I was going to say, so we were talking about all the different doctor appointments, right? When we're going through treatment, and then right after treatment, we're monitored pretty closely. Did
Mhm.
you feel a lot of PTSD when you were going to those initial doctor appointments? You know, worrying about, we call it scan anxiety, and that is one of,
And anxiety. Yes, I had some of that early on, especially because you don't know yet if it's gone. Is it really gone? Is it really gone? But after you have several scans and they say it's gone, it's like you start to believe it. Okay, maybe it really is gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
What does your treatment look like right now? How often are you scanned, if you don't mind me asking?
every 6 months, I go
Mhm.
for mammograms.
Okay.
Okay.
I have an MRI, a breast MRI every year.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have chest X-ray, I think at least once a year. And then she does a bone scan
Mhm.
every couple of
So
years.
they're
We've
covering
done
all
that
of it.
so far. So yes, she's watching me really closely.
Which is really good. You want a
Right.
thorough,
It's comforting. It's comforting. At first, I think I had a lot of anxiety about the results, and now it's I'm like, okay, it's gonna be okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it's reassuring now more than making me
Well,
nervous.
and particularly since you're a triple negative survivor who had a lumpectomy, I'm curious if a triple negative has a mastectomy, do they still do a breast MRI? Because like on me, they do not. Is that the case for you?
I do not
Because
have
because
any
it's all
scanning. Yeah.
reconstructed. Yeah. Okay.
I had a bilateral mastectomy because of mine.
So
Well, I
you
was just
don't do
curious
any
because
scanning.
Yeah.
if you don't have your original tissue, I guess
Yeah.
they don't have anything to do a mammogram or a breast MRI on. I was
Do
just
they do ultrasound or anything like that?
No, I have some scar tissue from the radiation, and so
Yes.
periodically they do ultrasounds to look at that just to make sure nothing's going on under that. But that's it.
hmm Okay.
Good.
They don't do any routine ultrasounds.
I've heard, from triple negative folks that the difficult part of that is when you hear other people that are taking medication
Mhm.
post like estrogen receptor breast cancer, for example, that are it's helping prevent recurrence. And whereas the triple negative, there's less, maybe I'm not in
Yeah,
that situation, but maybe you feel like you're in less control of what you're doing because you're sort of like you do the treatment and then you just wait
yeah,
and have your
right.
scans.
You're
Is that,
done,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Is
Um,
that an accurate depiction or?
I actually did do a couple of years of the estrogen blocker, sort of as a preventative, even
Oh,
though it's triple negative.
Interesting.
And the side effects were such that, well, I begged her, can I get off of this? And she said, well, because you're triple negative, I will let get off.
Oh, that's
Um, so I
interesting.
did. So I did that for a little while. And then there was that wondering, should I have done that? But
Mhm.
for me, it was the right choice.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not part of the typical protocol for triple
It's not.
negative.
It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. So like when I ended, I didn't have
Yeah.
anything.
hmm
And that was very frightening for the
hmm
early years.
hmm
Mhm.
But now I'm, pretty far out. So
hmm
I've, come to peace with that.
hmm
Yeah,
And
when you first in treatment, you don't know what to do with yourself because
right.
you've gotten so used to that, and yeah, it feels like, okay, what's next? And
Hmm.
maybe there's not anything next.
Right.
Right.
I describe it like I felt like I was dropped off a cliff when my oncologist
Yeah,
told me, like, you're done. We won't see you for 6 more months. And I was so used to having been told when to show up, at what appointment, where to be.
Exactly.
For like a year and a half, he had been my best friend, basically. And then all of a sudden it felt very unmooring, sort
Yeah,
of.
see you in 6 months. What? That can't
Yes.
be right.
Right, right. Well, before we jumped on this call, we were talking about just your personal life and having been married and having a big anniversary last year. And you said that y'all like to go back to where you got married in Hawaii and celebrate big anniversaries. So I bring that up because I'm wondering, since this will be year 5 for you in October, since your diagnosis, do you have any special celebration planned for when you get to 5 years?
I don't, but that's a great idea.
I think you ought to plant that
Yeah.
I
seed.
think,
Uh
yes,
huh.
I'm going to get on that right away because that is a really good idea. And I have a big birthday this year. It's this month. So
Oh,
planning, big for that too. So,
awesome. Great.
somebody asked
Celebrate
me
all the good
after
things.
I had cancer, they said it was my birthday and they said, oh, is it a big one? Meaning, I guess, a milestone or something. I said, honey, they're all big
They're
ones.
all
That's
big. Isn't
right.
that
They're
the
all big ones. But this
that
one really is. So I'm
yeah,
turning
that's
60. So
oh wow.
Oh,
Congratulations. That's
congratulations.
so
yeah,
great.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
exciting.
I wondered, getting back to since it's triple negative month, I just have more questions. How much did you find? I know you talked about the community of just people who understood that. Did it matter to you that there were other triple negative survivors in that group, or was it more just you just were like anybody that's had this breast cancer diagnosis, I just feel like we connect or how, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
how much was the subgroup piece an important part of it for you, or maybe not.
Just breast cancer was the common denominator, and that was fine with me. But in my emotional wellness class, one of my facilitators was triple negative,
Mhm.
and so I felt like, okay, here's another one.
Yeah, who
Hmm.
gets it?
Yeah,
Here's
that is right.
one. She gets it.
To
She
some
she's gone
people,
through it, and it was like 20 years for her. So
Oh,
I
really?
loved seeing that.
oh, that is
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah, I've found that to some people, like it's huge. I can remember we had a local member who I was the first fellow triple negative she'd ever met, and she was just ecstatic. Like she just needed that validation to come across somebody else
Mhm.
because things are different, the protocols are different. Since I've come through, a lot of people are starting to get Keytruda and they're adding immunotherapy, which wasn't a thing when I came through treatment. It sounds like you didn't get that, Sharon.
No. Mm-mm.
So it depends once again on your exact, specifics.
Mhm.
But she was really struggling with that, and she's like, I just need to talk to somebody because
Mhm.
I don't think the hormone positive people are getting Keytruda.
Mm-mm.
It's mostly metastatic cancers and then
Triple negative.
triple negatives right now.
Yes.
One thing you mentioned the adriamycin and Cytoxan
Mm.
regimen, the AC, and it's often called the Red Devil.
Mhm.
And you said I call it the blood of Jesus, which I love. I love that replacement. I've got to tell you something funny. I loved my oncologist. I still do. I love him. He's great. But these doctors, they are our doctors and they are just trying to kill the cancer, and I think sometimes they just, I don't know if forget's the right word, but he chastised me one day because I was complaining about the Red Devil. And he said, I just wish people wouldn't call it that. It just gives it such a bad reputation. And I got so upset with him, which is not like me, but I said, until you have had that poison flooded in your veins, I will call it whatever the heck I want. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
kind of like, you can bite me. I was so just like, what in the world are you saying to me?
Yeah.
So I just think it's a good reminder of the importance of, I mean, obviously we're grateful for fantastic medical care and these wise doctors who know how to treat our cancer, but to me, I needed people like the two of you who
Mhm.
laughed at that story because you get it and you
Yeah.
understand
Yes.
how offended I
Get
was
it.
at that moment. Um, because it is so much more than just the cancer treatments.
Hmm.
And I think one thing we talk about a lot in our community and just in our world of working with breast cancer people is that the survivorship stage is very underserved and
Mhm.
misunderstood because it kind of you end your active treatment and then it just sort of you just
Yeah.
drop it just falls off a
Drops
cliff.
off. Hmm.
And particularly like in your case you went through a lot of that alone in an isolated situation
Yeah.
post pandemic. I mean, I just think that some of those emotional needs and processing what you've been through and the trauma of a diagnosis like this and the trauma of this experience, you go through a year or however long it is of active treatment, and then you're trying to figure out what does it look like to be normal? What does it look like to
Hmm.
live a healthy life after something like this? And very well-meaning people, good intentions, they're saying to things to you that are not helpful, like you look so normal, your hair's grown back, you look great, or
Hmm.
you beat cancer. I'm so glad that's behind you. Good for you. And I was thinking, I'm not normal. I don't feel like myself. I'm not okay. And so I think that really speaks to the necessity of what we're doing and what we're talking about here. And the reason I bring all that up is I just wondered if someone's listening that is recently diagnosed as triple
Mm.
negative, or maybe they're currently in that active treatment, or they're very, very newly out of treatment and they feel like they're floundering and they feel like nobody necessarily, people are looking at them and saying, "We're so glad that's behind you and you've done a great job kicking cancer to the curb." What is your advice? Like, what would you offer them just in terms of keep going one day at a time, and what encouragement do you have for them?
Well, I tell you, I don't know if I could have felt this healthy about myself without bra, without that. The emotional wellness class alone
Mm,
was, what's the word? It just opened my eyes, because you think you're the only one that's feeling this way, and you're not. You're
yeah.
not. And it's okay to feel the way you feel. Your feelings are valid. And when you get in another group and you see they have the same feelings too, okay, I'm not weird. That helps. That helps you to heal. So if anybody is struggling with that, you got to get in community. You've got to get into a group. We
Mhm,
heal each other,
mhm,
and that's what I would say. You got to find a group. You got to find um,
Yeah.
people who understand.
find your
People
people.
Find
people
your
who are
tribe.
alike like to be together.
What was your
Mhm.
connection? How did you get involved in BRA or any other breast cancer resources?
Well, they actually had a flyer for bra at Tennessee Oncology where I went,
Mhm,
and I took a picture of it, and then I sat on it for a little while, and
Mhm.
then just sent an email, and immediately somebody got back with me. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know if I wanted to jump into something this quick, but it sounded like something. Yeah, I think I want to do, and I've brought other people now,
Oh,
to bra. And I'm doing the bra buddy thing, and I'm just so happy with that because I had a lady that was kind of a mentor to me when I went through. It was one of my son's teachers from school. She
mhm.
had breast cancer. It wasn't triple negative, but she was instrumental. I mean, I would call her for any little thing. Well, this hurts. Is that normal? Or I don't feel like this. Is that, why do I have a headache? And she she was wonderful. And that's what bra buddies are. We
Mhm.
can do that. So you gotta let it out. You can't keep it to yourself. You can't. Don't isolate yourself.
mm,
Yeah.
Don't isolate yourself. And you may have cancer, but cancer doesn't have you.
mhm.
Okay. Don't
So true.
Yeah.
don't think that defines you now, because it does
It
not.
does not.
I'm
It's
gonna write that
now
down.
just part of our story, but does not define who we are. I love the way you said that.
Yeah, you may have cancer, but cancer
Does
doesn't
not
have
have
you.
you. I love
I'm
that.
writing that down.
Yes. That's so good. The Bra Buddy mentorship program that Sharon is referring to is kind of where we are trying to pair people who are a little bit further down the road, past treatment and maybe a few years removed from their own diagnosis, who are interested in wanting to give back and then spend time reaching out or calling, people who are more recently just jumping into this experience. And it's like you said, I mean, you had that already with just a friend, your son's teacher, but it's nice when, I mean, organically it can happen. I had a lot of friends come out of the woodwork that were so willing to help, and it's like everybody knows somebody. So people would tell me, "Oh, I want you to call my neighbor's cousin's wife," and and I know that was they meant well. It took me a little while. I wasn't
Mm,
able to just talk to a stranger about my cancer at the
yeah.
beginning. It took a
Mhm.
long time, but once I got into it and uh, had processed it a little bit more and really wanted to talk to somebody who had been there, it is invaluable to have that person
Yes.
that you can reach out to and ask those questions to, like you
Yes.
mentioned. So that's really
Yes.
helpful.
Yeah. This has been wonderful, Sharon. Thank you. You have been a fount of information.
You
We
guys are a
appreciate
joy.
Thank you for sharing your
it.
story and being so willing to just kind of vulnerably talk about the parts that were really hard. And then now you just to see you doing so well and knowing that you're
Thank you.
fastly approaching that all important 5 year mark. We're just so happy for
Yeah,
you. And
makes my
Thank you.
heart
it
happy.
does me too. And I'm just so happy. And I know you, I know your heart, I know you're giving back. I know you're bringing other women alongside you and encouraging them and offering them hope. So we just appreciate you. Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy TNBC month.